Welcome to the Headley Highlight Show's Royal Corner. This week on the Royal Corner, Prince Harry and Duchess of Sussex at Beyonce and James Taylor concert. Prince Harry and Duchess of Sussex blamed for fueling Beckham family feud as if, because Brooklyn and Nicola attended a Sussex event, the papers went crackers. Kate's follow fashion. Victoria Beckham designed pea green polyester thrift store reject suit turns 0 heads and makes 0 wait lists. We also have Sycophant of the Week, and Harper's Bazaar's Kimberly Bond is coming in for pole position this week on the Headley Highlight Show's Royal Corner. Also in the Royal Corner this week, King Charles the Petty and the side salad queen extol wildlife conservation at her own brother's charity. Talk about nepotism and rinsing it out. Also, we have the lazy stick beating the future king, the green-eyed one in waiting, as a Republican group brand him as lazy on GB News, and suddenly he's getting a new title to increase his royal duties. All this and more on the Headley Highlight Show's Royal Corner. I do like the way I said all this and more on the Headley Highlight Show's Royal Corner. Also, before I jump into the show this week, can I say thank you to everyone for their listening ears? Thank you so much for listening to my content and also for joining my YouTube channel. Yes, darlings, I am progressing exponentially. I am now at 1,225 subscribers. Do click the bell and subscribe, and I will be delivered directly into your DMs or into your notifications, darling. And it will be a fabulous surprise each Friday and possibly on a Sunday. Also, darlings, can I encourage you to jump over to my website, which is called DeniseHeadley.com, which is also the name of my YouTube channel. That's also called DeniseHeadley.com, where I accept the contributions of all things that you think appropriate and nice. I am very partial to 3 wings and chips and a Miranda, but I'm also partial to tandoori and rice with biryani, a bit of sagaloo, possibly a shawarma kebab, fish and chips, rice peas, ackee saltfish, or fried chicken and a piece of cake. Anything you'd like to share, I will appreciate. You can also, in addition to that, you can maybe go onto my X account and become a subscriber. You can follow what I'm doing on Instagram, or you can rock over to TikTok, or just come back next week. It will be fabulous to spend time with you, darlings. Oh my gosh, 3 minutes and I haven't even started. Right. Let's jump into the show. So this first story I want to bring to you is about the Duchess of Sussex, the Duchess of Sussex and Prince Harry, and they went to see 2 concerts. Now, when I was looking at this, there were lots of really nice pictures of the couple. Meghan was, hugging Harry. He had on that really nice hat, and there was quite a lot of dissection about what the hat meant. But what I found interesting is this article that I'm referencing is from something called Entertainment News. And the way it's pitched is that listen to the headline. Meghan Markle, first of all, they don't use the Sussex's correct name anyway. Meghan Markle and Prince Harry attend 2nd concert in a week. So you're supposed to think, first of all, oh my God, they're living the glitzy lifestyle. But you know what, when I read that, I said to myself, excuse me, Entertainment News, did you even ask the question as to how many holidays the leeches in waiting have had? Prince, the green-eyed king, and lazy waity Katie, her. How many holidays have they had? It's only May, and that's 20 weeks of the year. They've been away 5 or 6 times, let alone how much times he's flown off in addition to that for state visits where he sits down, grins and don't do anything. That's the green-eyed one. So what is that headline? I thought that was a bit, ridiculous. So I haven't put the Entertainment News. Who is the artist? It's Hannah. What's your name, Hannah? What? Hannah McLeod? She might have to come onto the podium for Sycophant of the Week. So let's have a look at this article. So basically, let me just give you what I think happened because of what I saw on Instagram. The Sussexes, they went to the Beyonce concert. They had a lovely time. Meghan looked really beautiful in that lovely blue dress. They were dancing the night away, and it was just a really nice night. And what I picked up also, she wore a particular necklace, and the necklace I think was in honor of something to do with Princess Diana. Forgive me, I haven't done that bit. I've done a whole show. I can't cover everything, people. But essentially, what I picked up was that she wore this necklace, and the necklace then, it had either sold out or there was a greater demand for it. But it was just a whole lovely vibe. And you know what the important thing is? This is the backdrop after Harry came home, and what happened with the King and the Ravick committee, then withdrawing the security, and then they go out as a couple. They're all lovey-dovey, all loved up, kissing each other, having a great evening. And it just shows you once again, I said it last week, but it's going to be a theme. Love always wins. So it was just a nice vibe. But of course, the media have to come and put their slippery slant on it. So this was the article. Meghan Markle and Prince Harry attend second concert in a week for latest surprise outing. The couple attended a James Taylor concert less than a week after they were spotted at Beyonce's Cowboy Carter tour. At least they weren't doing it on public money, money that other people gave to them through their taxes or the sovereign grant. They actually earned the right to go to 2 concerts in a week. It's okay. They are allowed to have a night off. Hannah McLeod, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, or McLeod. Hannah goes on to tell us that they are regular concert goers, unlike the indolent Queen and the Green-Eyed King, who are regular holiday idlers, but you don't want to mention that. The Duchess of Sussex, so she does give her correct title, maybe 15 sentences down. The Duchess of Sussex shared photos from the occasion on Instagram this evening, captioning the carousel, "My concert era," and she put a little love heart. "Thanks, James." Hannah then goes to comment on her clothes and said her latest look consisted of a navy cashmere sweater. And they also shared a series of selfies. So while this article tried to be somewhat, giving you information, they were still sticking their oar in, as they say in the UK, basically being a little bit of a stirrer in the pot, continuing the narrative that they're enjoying their life and, somehow they shouldn't be allowed to go to 2 concerts a week when the rest of that firm is rinsing out the British public and all the other hangers-on and has-beens are rinsing it out too. Why don't you write something about that, Hannah? In fact, I'm going to put you up for Sycophant of the Week. Here, there's Hannah. Hannah of Entertainment News gets an early Sycophant of the Week. Thank you, Hannah. Moving along swiftly, darlings. The other article that spent, a little bit of column time entertaining certain, what can I say, the malice machine, was this story about the Beckhams. And the backdrop to this also is the Green-Eyed King's lazy wife and a thrift store, as they say in America, or we would say charity shop reject outfit that nobody was on the waitlist for, which Victoria Beckham, designed for her. It didn't even suit her, but I'm going to come to that later. Sussex is blamed for fueling Beckham family feud as Brooklyn and Nicola attend Sussex event. And Brooklyn is the son of David Beckham, and Nicola is his wife, and they don't speak to Victoria and David Beckham, and they had a party and they never turned up. So what basically happened was the papers reported that they spent time with the Sussexes. Meghan and Harry had an event. They attended along with a whole range of other people, but it was a no-show for him at any of his father's events. And because they're trying to rebrand the Green-Eyed King and Lazy Katie as, individuals that we should all look up to, they had Kate sending messages of support to Victoria Beckham this week. What she needs support with, I'm not quite sure. And because they went to the Sussexes event and they didn't go to David Beckham's event, because they're kind of a national institution in the UK, you know, we're all supposed to think they're fabulous. I mean, David's cool and she's all right, but, you know, sorry, why is anyone interested in him? I'm not that bothered about them. They make their money, great for them, but how about no? So we don't have any like up and coming people to occupy these spaces of celebrityism. So they've got the Beckhams in the space now, and now they're trying to say that the Sussexes are fueling the fact that, you know, Brooklyn doesn't want to speak to his dad. Maybe he doesn't want to speak to his dad, you know, David Beckham. He might be a national hero, but maybe Brooklyn don't want to chat to him. Maybe he doesn't like his mum. He don't like her ways. Who knows? I'm not speculating, but the point is there's silence and it's got nothing to do with the Sussexes. So what if they go to a social event at the Sussexes? What if they went to a social event at the Pope? Would they suddenly be saying that the Pope's trying to keep them away from David Beckham? No, they wouldn't. The new pontiff, the American one, Pope Leo the 14th. They wouldn't, no. So it's just a stupid analogy, yeah? So I thought that was a ridiculous article. And leading, maybe for jockeying for the first place position, is The Independent because of their asinine article about the whole affair. Kaylee Werner is coming in at a very close second. She writes, Meghan Markle, obviously not using the correct name as per usual. And Prince Harry, he gets the prince, but you know, she can't get the Duchess. Host Brooklyn Beckham and Nicola pellets in Montecito amid rumoured family feud. When was the last time you went out and somebody asked you if you're involved in a family feud with your parents? It's not a question people ask. They just give you an invite. They're not asking about your private and personal business. They're not studying that. Why should they be studying what's going on in their lives? It's not their business, you know? Why are you always up in the Sussexes' business? Hey, let me give you a bit more of this article. Meghan Markle and Prince Harry reportedly, obviously it's not confirmed then, reportedly hosted Brooklyn Beckham and his wife Nicola Beckham at their home in Montecito, California. Have you checked who the king is entertaining in his house? He has a whole manner of individuals that we should be exceptionally concerned about. Kaylee, why don't you write a story about them? Of course, she's citing sources. People magazine confirmed the two couples shared an intimate dinner sometime this week. Brooklyn, David Beckham's son, and Nicola did not receive the invitation directly from the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, the People reported. Well, how come you know all of this, People magazine? Were they briefing you? The source says it was an intimate gathering where there were several additional guests, including VIPs and film executives. Brooklyn and Nicola had a great time. And here is the link. It's so tenuous. News of Meghan and Harry's gathering comes amid ongoing rumours of a feud within the Beckham family, particularly between Brooklyn and his younger brother Romeo. By now, nobody cares what Hannah is writing, because the whole article is just a loose set of ideas and thoughts, somehow trying to link the Sussexes to the Beckhams, because the Beckhams are the premier pop family in the UK, and suddenly everyone needs to think that the Sussexes are doing something bad to them. That's the point of the whole exercise. Thoroughly boring, Kaylee, and somewhat tiresome, and exceptionally lazy on your part. And for that, you can share the podium with Hannah McClar from Entertainment News, giving you the space of Sycophant of the Week. Thank you so much. We wouldn't have been able to do it without you. Also on the Headley Highlight Show's Royal Corner, Kate Follow Fashion, Victoria Beckham design pea green polyester, thrift store reject suit turns 0 heads and makes no one's wait list. So the green-eyed queen and one of the other leeches in waiting, there's just so many of them, suddenly realized nobody is interested in her fashion tips, beauty ideas, recommendations, or endorsements. And just as the Duchess of Sussex wore a beautiful kind of brown suit at the Time magazine when she was being interviewed and she was a keynote speaker, she rocks up in a pea green, polyester looking, very itchy in appearance, pea green suit coloured suit with seams, pockets, a ruffle blouse, the centre part just like the Duchess of Sussex, and some gentle Hollywood waves, I think they're called, and her new hair colour that nobody notices. And suddenly, we needed to be wowed by it. This ensemble, this hazardous misformation of style and colour, which didn't suit her whatsoever. And Harper's Bazaar, obviously a leading fashion commentary magazine, for whom I'm not quite sure, writes a puff article. This article had more yeast than my grand's old plat loaf. It's risen so high with hot air and fermenting bacteria. And Kimberly Bond writes, fashion does matter. Why what Kate wears will always, darlings, be important. Let's find out, shall we? She writes, as the future Queen of the United Kingdom and 14 other Commonwealth countries, no, she's not going to make the 14 Commonwealth countries, because by the time she gets there, they will be republics. It's little surprise that the Princess of Wales faces huge amounts of public scrutiny whenever she's seen in public. The 43-year-old has now returned to a schedule of regular outward-facing engagements following an extended break last year, during which she was undergoing treatment for cancer. Notice how the language has changed around describing her sickness. Her sickness that the whole nation was told was one thing, and, your retinas told you something else. And the article centres the future queen as important, as opposed to the 14 other Commonwealth countries who don't really necessarily have a view. This is the mindset of the old colonies. One of her most recent outings, because you know what's happening, the question around them being lazy is beginning to stick. So the articles now are trying to show them in the light of actually doing something other than twisting their wrists and waving and twisting their wrists and putting it in the till and clocking out more public money. One of her most recent outings was to present the Queen Elizabeth II Award at the British Fashion Council. Kate donned an olive green suit. The suit looked like overdone garden peas that had been mushed and were deeply unappetizing. Kate donned an olive green suit by Victoria Beckham for the occasion. There's the link, like we told you about the previous story. However, a source has previously told the Sunday Times that Kate would prefer there not to be such a focus on her sartorial choices. What does that word mean? With Kensington Palace no longer willing to share or confirm the names of labels the princess wears. Hold on a second. Let me just check with Alexa. Alexa, what does sartorial mean?
The adjective sartorial is usually defined as of or relating to tailors or their trade. For more, ask me to give you more definitions for sartorial.
So what they're trying to do now is to say that the lazy Katie, the indolent queen, doesn't want to share her labels because she doesn't want to focus to be on her fashion. What a low... Listen, how contradictory is that? The whole article is about what she's wearing. You're told that 14 other countries in the Commonwealth are always looking at her, but Kensington Palace don't want you to look at her clothes. She doesn't want to have any affiliate links, and somehow, because Meghan's doing that, that she's somehow above it all. The suit didn't even suit her. That green doesn't go good on you. And what was you wearing that ruffled suit for, like a beefeater standing outside the Kensington Palace, all them ruffles on your chest? What was that? She doesn't pay for any of her clothes. She doesn't need any affiliate links because she's been getting free clothes, and she intends to get free clothes until she meets the maker. So she doesn't need any affiliate links. And even if she did, no one wants to buy what she's wearing. So this article is trying to suggest to you somehow she's taken the moral high ground because she's not using affiliate links. The reality is Nobody wants to wear an outfit that looks like creamed spinach. Right, darlings. Next story in the Headley highlight shows, Royal Corner. Oh, this one was great. Petty King Charles and the side salad queen extol the virtues of wildlife conservation. And guess what? The charity is her brother's charity. Talk about nepotism. As I said, another leech in waiting, another hanger-on. Obviously, the brother's family and children need to be fed, so that's their role there. Who knows what jobs they have in the palace and the public is paying for. Anyway, this is the article. King Charles says collaboration better than conflict in a call to help save the planet. The king made a heartfelt call for people to help save the planet as he said collaboration is far better than conflict. What about collaboration with your own son so he could get security so he doesn't have to think that, maybe he's, someone's going to take a pot shot at him and his wife, or that don't count. Okay, sorry, let me get back to the article. He was speaking with the side salad at an event on Tuesday, and the event is to support Elephant Family, founded by the side salad's late brother, Mark Shand. So they're using their proximity to power to raise funds for a charity. Lucky you, Elephant Family. The event, called Wonders at Wild, an evening of art and conversation, was set up as a celebration of art and nature and a fundraiser for the charity, which works with conservation experts to tackle the challenges facing Asia's wildlife and the communities living alongside it. I think they would probably benefit more from a redirection of your wealth, potentially, probably stolen from their forebearers, as opposed to your grinning expressions and platitudes. Moving along swiftly, darlings. The lazy stick is apparently bludgeoning William as the Republican group brand him as lazy on GB News, and suddenly he gets a new title to increase his royal duties. I'm going to play you Richard Fitzwilliams, who is the CEO of Republic. That's the group that want to make the UK a republic. Listen to what he said.
Part of the problem with them, and part of the problem with William, who is currently in line to be the next monarch, is he's incredibly lazy. He doesn't do anything. I mean, last month he did about 4 days.
Look at the Prince's Trust, now the King's Trust. That have to
it's an independent charity that will function with or without the royals, and the impact of them on charity. I mean, William did about 4 days of work last month. 4 days in total, and when I say work, I mean turning up and waving at people, most of which is done in or near their houses. They really do very little, and they cost us £500 million a year, and for a whole family, which we do not need, including people that most people would never have heard of, like the Duke and Duchess of Kent, the Prince and Princess of Kent, the Duke of Gloucester. They're all included in this £500 million cost.
The reason that's important is because this idea that they are lazy is beginning to stick. And the Cosmopolitan writes this article, why Prince William is taking over special royal title from Prince Charles. This is a PR exercise to show that he is of value and worth to the nation. The article reads, looks like King Charles is giving up one of his many titles to Prince William. Don't worry, he has plenty spare ones. The King and his eldest son, Prince William, are heading to Westminster Abbey on the 16th, which is tomorrow, for something dramatic, actually it's today, for something dramatic sounding called the Order of the Bath Service, a ceremony dating to medieval times relating to receiving a knighthood. The green-eyed king in waiting will get another title. I'm sure there's some sort of money and remuneration and benefit attached. It's interesting that they don't actually tell you in the article what the title actually gives him in terms of material benefit. The article goes on to say, to be clear, there are no plans for the kings to abdicate the throne. However, William is taking on more royal responsibilities as he prepares to be king. Hoot hoot, boring alert. Anyway, that's the end of my stories this week. In conclusion to that particular story, this is actually going on ages, I've got to round it up really quickly. Him and his lazy wife are getting called out. And the mere fact that the media are telling you he's taken on more responsibility shows you that the firm is worried. I hope you've enjoyed this week's Headley Highlight Show's Royal Corner. We started at the top of the hour with the Duchess of Sussex and Prince Harry going to see Beyonce and James Taylor. Then there was the invented feud that somehow the Sussexes were inserting themselves into the Beckhams business. Like, please, no one's interested in that. They got their own stuff to sort out. Why would they be bothering with all that foolishness? Then you had Follow Fashion Kate with her pea green cream spinach suit that nobody was interested in and nobody wanted on their wait list, in their basket, or on their wish list. Then you had Petty King Charles and the side salad, extolling the virtues of conservation at her brother's charity. We had the sycophants of the week. Oh yes, there was Hannah McClar from Entertainment News. There was Kaylee Warner from The Independent, another Sussex bashing rag. And we can't forget Kimberly Bond, telling us that the whole of the Commonwealth is wearing what Kate's wearing. And for that, they get this week's sycophants of the week. Thank you so much. Please don't come back next week, but I'm sure you will. And we also had the lazy tag sticking to the green-eyed king in waiting. So I hope you enjoyed it this week. Thank you for your listening ears. Jump back all in next week. Make a donation at deniseheadley.com. Jump all up in the YouTube. Become a subscriber. Share, like. And thank you for your listening ears and cut.